The latest is Ford's making major cuts. I mean, first of all, with prices like this on an F-150 Lariat, we have a sticker price here.
Imagine dropping from the highest position in the automobile industry to the lowest one after many years of dominance. This is Henry Ford's brand's current state, and while it is clear that they are in bankruptcy, many people are wondering if this is actually happening. Over the past few days, there has been a notable decline in the stock market led by some overpriced mega-cap tech companies. Ford Motor Company happens to be on the top of this list, having its shares fall 22% over the last month, significantly more than the S&P 500's 4% decrease. However, what is causing Ford's steep decline? Investors are increasingly in agreement that Ford is suffering from terrible management, making it maybe the worst-run large car company in the world right now. Ford has made a number of costly mistakes since the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly with its ambitious $30 billion quest to overtake Tesla Incorporated in the electric vehicle industry. The company is also losing a startling $50,000 on every EV it sells in spite of these efforts, which calls into doubt the long-term viability of its approach. That's not all. For comparison, at the end of June 2022, just before the Federal Reserve started hiking interest rates, Ford's stock was trading at about $11. Not just that, high loan rates and comparatively low consumer confidence in the United States have all contributed to Ford's slide, even if supply chain problems and the semiconductor shortage affected the business and other major automakers for a large portion of 2022. Nonetheless, thanks to a new array of cars, including the all-new F-150, Ford recorded a 6% year-over-year increase in revenue to $47.81 billion in the second quarter of 2024, which ended on June 30th. Nevertheless, this was less than the $44.90 billion that Wall Street had anticipated. However, due to the increased warranty-related expenses, the company's adjusted earnings, which came in at 47 cents per share, also fell short of projections by 21 cents. Caused by a pre-tax loss reported by its combustion engine division as a result of increased warranty and recall costs, Ford's second quarter net income fell 4.5% from the prior year to $1.83 billion. However, for Ford, it's been like a stream of major setbacks. Factually, this setback was sufficient to wipe away over a year's worth of gains as Ford's shares fell in after-hours trade. For the most recent quarter alone, the business reported warranty and recall costs of $2.30 billion, which is $800 million more than the first quarter and $700 million more than a year ago. The company's internal combustion engine division, Ford Blue, made $1.17 billion before taxes in the quarter, which was $1.1 billion less than the year before. Instead of providing the improved guidance that investors had hoped for, Ford Blue lowered its outlook. Conversely, the commercial vehicle division, Ford Pro, reported a $2.56 billion profit, $173 million more than in 2023. The company's financial problems were exacerbated when Model E, the EV division, announced a $1.14 billion loss, which was $63 million worse than the year before. Ford raised forecasts for adjusted free cash flow (FCF) by $1 billion from a range of $7.50 billion to $8.50 billion, while maintaining its projection range for adjusted EBIT between $10 billion and $12 billion despite these setbacks. However, considering the growth and positive product mix, Ford Pro's EBIT estimate for the entire year has been raised between $9 billion to $10 billion. However, because of higher-than-expected warranty expenses, Ford Blue's projection has fallen between $6 billion and $6.5 billion. Investors' confidence in the company was damaged by the combination of declining profits and rising warranty expenses between April and June. F's stock has dropped more than 19% in the last year and about 16% so far this year. Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, acknowledged the company's growing pains, especially concerning its EV strategy, which has encountered several difficulties. Farley voiced confidence in Ford's ability to cut losses and create a successful EV business despite these obstacles. Targeting the work and adventure markets, the business intends to concentrate on creating very differentiated EVs that are priced between $40,000 and $30,000. However, substantial advancements in cost reduction, a goal that is still unclear, will be necessary for success in this field. Whether Ford has enough cash on hand to handle the current economic issues is a top concern for investors. The corporation has about $20 billion in cash reserves and $20.40 billion in total debt, excluding financing activities. Would Ford see a recurrence of its 2022 and 2023 difficulties and underperform the S&P in the upcoming year given the current macroeconomic climate, which is characterized by high oil prices and interest rates? Or will it be able to make a powerful resurgence? Recognizing that gasoline-powered vehicles are the main source of short-term earnings and may remain so for some time, Ford has eased off from its aggressive EV aspirations. Since the EV versions of its best-selling F-150 pickup and Mustang Mach-E have fallen short of expectations, management has argued that creating a viable $25,000 EV is the key to success, even though the way to accomplish this is still unknown. Since the business failed to meet CEO Jim Farley's goal of increasing the efficiency of its conventional gasoline engine operations, whose revenues the company needs to support its costly electric vehicle plans, Ford Motors shares have fallen roughly up to 8% so far. During a call to discuss quarterly earnings by the company, Farley told the analysts that the automaker's progress has been hampered by waste in its 121-year-old heritage company, supplier problems, quality, and warranty issues. The carmaker predicted that its yearly performance would fall below the lowest range of its earlier projections, and in the end, that was what happened. And warranty are by far the company's biggest opportunities, Farley stated during the call. He went on to say, "We're not at all satisfied, but I'm proud of the progress." Farley has been highlighting these recurring problems for years, and some people on Wall Street are worried about Ford's capacity to resolve them. Additionally, some investors disapprove of Ford's choice to save cash and pay a dividend instead of aggressively repurchasing stock, as Detroit competitor GM did. However, Ford's stock is down 13% so far, while rival General Motors is up 43% after steadily upgrading its outlook. Experts and investors agree that since crosstown competitors face similar market dynamics, comparing them is unavoidable. Morningstar analyst David Whitson stated, "I wouldn't say the results at Ford have been horrible in any one quarter, but the second and third quarters definitely had some disappointments, and those disappointments are more magnified given how well GM's stock is doing." When comparing revenue and earnings before interest and taxes, it is evident that Ford and GM have different cost structures. Although their third quarter revenues of $49 billion and $46 billion were comparable, GM's EBIT, which is calculated by subtracting revenue from operating expenses and costs of goods sold, was over 1.5 times higher at $41 billion than Ford's. In a research report, Barclays analyst Dan Levy noted that Ford had not yet closed the $7 billion cost difference it mentioned compared to its rivals. Ford executives had previously described this disparity. This improvement has proven extremely elusive, and it's still unclear as to when it will occur. Ford lowered its year projection for its two primary revenue-generating businesses, the commercial and gasoline engine divisions, citing quality issues as well as individual incidents like the aftermath of recent hurricanes in the southeast U.S. and inflation impacting a facility in Turkey. The previously anticipated $6 billion to $6.5 billion in EBIT at year's end is now estimated to drop to about $5 billion for the gasoline engine car business. Ford needs to make significant profits in these areas to make up for an anticipated $5 billion loss on EVs, as it will only barely reach the lower end of its commercial expectation of $9 billion to $10 billion. However, Ford has distributed a quarterly dividend of 15 cents. Chief Financial Officer John Lawler stated that Ford is committed to distributing 40 to 50% of free cash flow while holding on to as much of the remaining amount as feasible when questioned on Monday about giving back more money to shareholders. Ford's decline is a serious problem that could end up costing them the entire business. Every company, however, experiences downturns regularly. However, it is up to management to decide whether to recover or shut down the company. However, if it isn't given careful consideration, a large corporation like Ford might soon have to close. What are your thoughts?